All right, welcome back. We're here for our second match of the week, week 3 of Wilds of Eldraine League, and we got Kevin I here, who's he's become a feature match regular. He usually does about one feature match per league, and he's up against our winningest feature match player since we've started doing these, Caleb, and John is going to be looking at his hand here. Unfortunately, Kevin's taken a mulligan down to 5 with a not super inspired looking hand here. Looks like we're gonna have a Golgarimir. I know a bit about Caleb's deck, but what's he got in hand here?
Caleb kept his hand very quickly. It was the Dream Thief, Return from the Wilds, a Wildwood Escort from Mom, and then an Ashiok Wicked Manipulator.
Very nice.
So he's got 5 lands in hand and Return from the Wilds to grab another land if he wants here, ramping into his Planeswalker.
All right, yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a tough go for Kevin if Ashiok's the thing happening here. So I know there's an island there. I believe his only blue card is the elusive otter, which is the creature half of that green adventure that just distributes as many counters as you like.
Yep.
Yeah, so here comes Ashiok. This is going to be a rough go. Kevin does have a removal in his hand in the form of Bone Splinters, which I believe was in Dominaria United. I think that's what set it showed up in out of the sets that we're allowed to pick.
Does that hit Planeswalkers?
No, Bone Splinters is quite an old card. It's from like probably at least 10 years ago or so before
Okay.
they started pointing things at Planeswalkers.
You never know what hits Planeswalkers these days.
Nowadays, it's most things. Though for this set, there's only Ashiok's the only planeswalker in the set, so nothing really gets rid of it. I think except explicitly for the black rare, the end. I believe hits a planeswalker, but
Oh, yeah.
none of the common removal actually can hit planeswalkers in this set, which is it's new. So
Caleb doesn't block. He's fine with it just taking or one or the two.
yeah, Kevin's set up here to play Gruff Triplets next turn. So he also has a Troublemaker Oof in his hand and a Forest. So he kind of, I mean, in the face of the Ashiok, he's at least going to play, what's probably the best or one of the best cards in his deck next turn. But let's see how Caleb responds to this. So it looks like their decks are, pretty similar in composition as far as colors. Uh, I think Caleb was possibly running a more multicolored deck earlier. I know his starting pool had what 4 of the black red uncommon Piper, and he
Oh,
was and he
yeah.
was running with that. But he decided the power of Ashiok and Gruff Triplets and just good stuff from Mom sort of led him into this black green deck.
It does seem where a lot of decks are going.
Yeah.
And Caleb's hand is getting pretty stacked. He's got a Candy Grapple, a Specter of Mortality, a Back for Seconds, and the Wildwood Escort to get back anything creature-wise back from the graveyard.
Yeah. So it might be a bit of a generalization and probably a little bit of like an over exaggeration, but I think most of the decks in the league at this point are either red aggro decks or decks that are trying to 2-for-1, whatever colors they're playing. Some combination of green, black, blue, like some possibly white, but just really looking to 2-for-1 and grind games out versus the red aggro decks. I don't see a lot of the quote unquote like archetypes from WoW showing up here. Like I don't
Yeah.
think anybody who you know has a like really, aside from sort of the black red decks and some of the white red decks, nobody has a tapping deck, nobody has a fairies deck, you know nobody has like an auras matter deck. Not that I've seen, at least.
No. It's just too hard to build around them when you have so many powerful cards doing so many things at like 1 and 2 and 3 mana.
Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Sort of the decks boil down to like red aggro decks, and then just decks that are looking to grind and 2-for-1 for the whole game. Again, probably a bit of an exaggeration, but that's sort of a lot of what I'm seeing. And Caleb is, I mean, we've got some really powerful rares staring at each other here. Kevin in his hand has Shatter the Oath, which in basically any other set would probably say Destroy target creature or planeswalker, but this one says destroy target creature or enchantment.
Ooh.
So, I guess Caleb's leaving up some form of interaction here.
He has Candy Grapple.
Okay. Yeah, because Kevin could think about shattering the oath on the 3/3 flyer and putting the wicked token on the Baronati and possibly trying to make headway into this Ashiok here. But if Candy Grapple is happening, then he will not be able to do that.
And really, all of Caleb's cards right now care about the graveyard. He has Unseal the Necropolis, Back for Seconds, and the Wildwood Escort. And he doesn't have any creatures in there yet.
Yeah, it was funny. He was playing a match, actually just before this, about, maybe 20 minutes before the feature match, or 20-30 minutes ago. And his opponent actually boarded in a Ground Seal, which is one of those bonus slot cards that says, well, it draws a card when it comes in, but it says cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities. And he had like Back for Seconds and something else in hand, and he was like, oh, that's a particularly good sideboard.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And I mean, at worst, it replaces itself and you bargain it away at some point. But cool thing out of the sideboard. I kind of wish there were more of those, like even just sideboard niche cards in the bonus slot rather than just blanks, rather than complete blanks. At least Ground Seal's a card that might actually have an impact on a game, maybe 2% of the time, but that's 2% more than a lot of the cards that showed up in that slot.
Caleb might be able to deal with the triplets here, depending on what Kevin has, because with the Candy Grapple, he can get the counter trigger on the stack.
Yeah.
Unless he can save it, which I don't think I've seen someone actually deal with a triplet. Here we go.
Yeah, it was actually in the Arena Open, the last round for the money, the last game we had a Gruff Triplets standoff, and I ended up dealing with them little by little. I was able to pump mine bigger. I was able to bounce one with my one blue card, the Scalding Viper, because I was playing green-red, but the Scalding Viper Adventure has blue on it that bounces something, so I was able to worm my way through the Gruff standoff here. But Unsealed Necropolis, whatever work Kevin has done on Caleb's board here, getting rid of those tokens, he's undoing little by little. And this little rat is actually going to, it is going to nab a real card here, the Troublemaker Hoof.
Caleb, he drew the Elusive Otter for the turn.
Oh yeah, that one can end games.
His whole hand is just more and more action. He draws a Ferocious Werefox off that draw.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin might be one really impactful draw away from pulling back in this game, but it's going to need to be really good. Because he's under pressure here. So, yeah, I mentioned at the outset, Caleb has the most wins. He has almost, I think, the most feature match appearances, but he's 13-2 in these matches. So, if you ever do get paired up against him, he always brings it here to the feature matches. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we're seeing Ashiok, powerful Planeswalker come down, and these tokens really just getting huge. I mean, so much value.
Yeah, the one thing about Ashiok, and I think I learned the hard way. I had it in my first draft of the format. On the +1, you actually have to click on the card that you don't want, which is really stupid.
Oh,
the templating says, look at exile the top 2 cards of your library, choose one, and put the other into your hand. So obviously, the first time I cast it, I +1, and I'm like, oh, the card I want, click on it. And then suddenly that went into exile, and I got a land in my hand. So now I know that card is templated completely awful.
Caleb's fine with letting Ashiok go here if he wants to stake it.
Well, he said, look, I'm just overwhelming the board here. I don't need this. It's kind of done. It's kind of done what it needs to do, and those tokens will still trigger if you can get stuff into exile, usually via adventure. So this is the sign of he knows when he knows what he's got out of this Ashiok. accumulated so much advantage and resources. And he said, look, we've moved on to the next phase of the game. I don't need to spend mana to keep it alive. I'd rather just use my mana the most efficiently I can to start getting him dead, right? He's outcarding him. He has more life, and he has a better board. He says, yeah, sure, it can go, and it also, it leaves Kevin without a blocker here. So Kevin does have the Bramble Familiar in hand, which is that adventure creature, the rare. Um, I'm assuming he's going to plan on adventuring it, but that's not going to do much here because this is just beyond lethal here.
It's facing down just a lot.
It's not quite minus 17 lethal, but it's close enough. Like, yeah, so that Elusive Otter, again, that was something... I had that in the pre-release, so my very first time playing the format, I said, is this for real? Like, you just throw as many counters as you want for however much mana you have on anything? Like, any combination of creatures? Like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's a very powerful... I mean, you would play it without the blue otter creature side really at all.
Yeah. I actually didn't even have a way. The only way in my deck when I had in pre-release, the only card in my deck was the Collector's Vault. That was the only way to actually cast the front side. So it looks, I mean, it appears that Kevin at least went to Dominaria United for at least one pack here. And he's been to Brothers War as well, looking through his sideboard. So he's got some Bro cards, he's got some DMU cards. But his deck is basically all woe, except for, I think, the Bone Splinters. He's playing much of anything else from outside the set. So maybe he just sampled a couple things and was like, let's go back to the main set.
Caleb's bringing in a Thunderous debut.
Okay, no, he's got an Obstinate Baloth and a Goring Warplow from Bro, so there's that. But otherwise, his deck is green-black. 2 Gruff Triplets here.
Wow, 2 Gruff Triplets?
Yeah, he's siding out his White Splash, which is for Neva, the black-white uncommon. It looks like he's siding in a Grave Pact. So, if you can make the mana work, why not?
Caleb thinks this is going to be a longer game. He's bringing in some expensive spells and cutting some 2-drops here.
Okay. Yeah, so Kevin, he's been with, I think this is about his 9th or 10th league. He's still going after his first top 8, but he's 8-5 right now. So he's this is one of the best starts he's had, I think. So we're pulling for him to keep climbing up the standings here, but he's gonna need to go through Caleb here, who we know is excellent. All right, so he's starting off nice start here with Welcome to Sweet Tooth. What's Caleb's plan here?
He's got this Nezumi Informant coming down. He's got the Otter again, Curse of the Werefox, Gleeful Takedown, so a couple fight spells, and Glistening Deluge. I'm assuming that's a minus spell.
It's a -1/-1 to all creatures, and all green and white creatures get an additional -2/-2.
Oh, so it'll take care of this 3/3 that's on the board.
It sure will, yeah. Yeah, so Kevin's just got about the best start you could have for your food deck. Welcome to Sweet Tooth into Greta. But, yeah, removing the Greta here basically cancels the last... that'll cancel the last chapter here. He's got a Return from the Wilds here. He's got... the only card Kevin has left, aside from the Forest in hand, is a nice rare Sentinel of Lost Lore. That's a 3-mana 3/4 that can get you back in adventure, cancel an opponent's adventure, and exile their graveyard. So just pushed another pushed card there.
Pretty awkward for Caleb. He's got 2 fight spells, draws the back for seconds, so he has the Elusive Otter, but he's got nothing to put the counters on and no mana. Draws an island for the turn. That's lucky.
Yeah, but I don't think you're playing the Otter. Oh,
he's playing the Otter.
There it is.
Well, he's got the back for seconds, so maybe he's okay with it dying and getting it back.
Yeah, I can get it back in his hand. He can go through it all again. Yeah. All right, so another Forest here for Kevin. This is not exactly what he envisioned here. He had a nice start. Welcome to Sweet Tooth into Greta, but one removal kind of just canceled out the Welcome to the Sweet Tooth's last ability. All right, here's a
And
not Volt Hermit. This card was like basically not played in Mom. It was just like pretty weak because so many of the creatures were just 2-for-1s. But looking pretty good here. This is going to be a flip into a 5/5, and I believe when it attacks, something else becomes a 5/5. So
creatures in WoW, they don't get that big. 5/5s in WoW are hard to come by.
yeah, it's just like so in March of Machines, like just being a large creature that does nothing except be large was not that valuable because it was a value based format. But in WoW, where the creatures are not big, now you got given it to this prowess creature. It makes it virtually unblockable.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice little combo right there.
So Kevin can put two things in play here. So
Yeah,
he can at least threaten a block on the 5/5, a double block perhaps.
Curse of the Werefox and Graceful Takedown, so double removal spell right here.
So if Caleb decides to, he can just have his opponent take 11, 12, 13.
Yeah, it's starting to look like he may want that to happen.
I think it's 13 damage here. If he decides to do both. The otter will be... No, actually the otter will be 8 and the novel will be 6. So that's going to be... Looks like 14 to me. Oh no, no, 13.
I know he's gonna cast the back for seconds for one more prowess trigger.
Oh,
for 0.
Oh, you can target nothing? Why are you able to target nothing with that card? That doesn't make any sense. What a silly design.
You need to bargain.
Okay, sure. I mean, that's one way of doing it. Cast your back for seconds, targeting nothing. All right, so games were quick. That happens sometimes. Congratulations to Caleb on his 14th feature match win. I don't think anyone's matching that, at least not anytime soon. So congratulations to him, and we'll be back in a little bit for our last feature match of the night.